When this grandma revealed her dark secret at midnight, you won't believe the truth. In the small, sleepy town of Willow Creek, something sinister lurked beneath the surface. The clock struck midnight, slicing through the thick silence like a knife. The townspeople were asleep, wrapped in their ordinary dreams, but in one creaky old house at the edge of town, Grandma Edna was wide awake. She sat in her dimly lit kitchen, her gnarled hands trembling around a steaming cup of chamomile tea. Tonight felt different. The air crackled with anticipation, like the calm before a storm. Edna's heart raced. She had a secret, a dark one that haunted her for decades, whispers of the past that echoed in the corners of her mind. Strangely enough, she had avoided telling anyone, even her own family. Yet tonight she felt compelled, almost as if the walls themselves were urging her to finally unearth the truth. Shadows danced ominously in her kitchen, flickering against the wall like mischievous spirits waiting to share their tales. Suddenly, a loud knock at the door jolted her from her thoughts. The sound reverberated through the house, sending chills down her spine. Who would dare visit at this hour? She hesitated, her fear clashing with curiosity. Footsteps approached, and with each step, her heart thumped louder, as if it had a life of its own. The door creaked open and there stood a figure, shrouded in darkness, their face concealed beneath a hood. "I know what you did," the voice echoed, eerie and menacing, sending shivers coursing through Edna's veins. "Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." Edna's breath caught in her throat. The old woman felt a lump forming as memories flooded back, drowning her in despair. But she couldn't run. Not now, not when her past was knocking at her door. The dark figure stepped closer, their presence heavy, like a storm cloud ready to burst. "You thought you could hide," they whispered, chilling her to the bone. The weight of those words hung in the air, leaving Edna frozen, unable to utter a single sound. What did they know? What secret from her past had resurfaced? The air grew thick with tension, and Edna's mind raced, each heartbeat pounding in her ears like a war drum. She could feel the walls closing in, sweat trickling down her back as uncertainty gripped her. The figure leaned in, a flash of light revealing a pair of piercing eyes that seemed to see through her very soul. "Tell me the truth, Edna," they demanded, their tone icy. In that moment, every shadow seemed to pulse with a life of its own, and Edna knew she couldn't hide any longer. But could she find the strength to reveal her secret? Was she ready for whatever came next? As the clock continued to tick, dread twisted in her stomach. The midnight hour ticked away, bringing with it a truth that might shatter everything. The question hung in the air. Would she finally succumb to the darkness of her past? Edna's body trembled as she stared into those unyielding eyes. They felt like daggers cutting through the dark fog of her memories, and she had to brace herself to find her voice. The shadows shifted around her, almost alive, taunting her with the forgotten whispers of regret. "You have no idea what you're talking about," she finally managed to croak out, though her heart betrayed her confidence. The figure continued to loom closer, the details of their cloak absorbing the pale moonlight, making them seem more like a phantom than a person. "Don't lie to me, Edna. Your secrets have grown impatient. They want out." The voice dropped low, intensifying the suffocating atmosphere. "I've come for the truth." As the chilling words sunk in, Edna felt an old fear clawing its way up from the depths of her consciousness. She had thought that time would dull the sharp edges of her past. But here it was, sharp as ever, ready to cut through her carefully constructed facade. 50 years ago, I buried it deep, too deep," she whispered, her own confession surprising her. An involuntary shiver ran down her spine as she pictured how she had covered up the truth that night. The moon had been full, just like tonight, illuminating paths of decisions that had haunted her since. The figure didn't flinch. Instead, they leaned in closer, the acrid scent of old leaves and rain-soaked earth wafting from them. "You think you can escape it? You can't outrun your own shadows." With a sudden burst of bravery, Edna shot back, "But I've survived, haven't I?" Her eyes glinted with something fierce, even amidst the dread. "I dealt with what happened. What more could you want from me?" But doubt gnawed at her. She didn't even know who this stranger was or what they were really after. Survived? Or merely survived the storm? "You can move on, but your truth still festers," they replied, their tone more persuasive than aggressive. "You have to admit it. Set yourself free before the darkness consumes you." Each word felt like a weight, pushing Edna further into the shadows of her kitchen. She wanted to scream, to tell this spectral figure to leave and take their judging eyes with them. But her body betrayed her, and the fear of what lay beneath her carefully kept secret was greater than her will to rebuff them. "Tell me what you know," she found herself saying, the resolution forming from long-buried desperation. And as the words left her lips, the air shifted, hinting at a storm brewing in the unseen corners of life that she had buried. "I know there's more," the figure murmured, a slight smirk breaking the cloud of coldness surrounding them. "I know about the child." The very mention of a child made Edna's heart plummet into an abyss of guilt and sorrow, the truth latching onto her throat like a vice. Memories flooded back, each moment a stabbing reminder of the choices she made, the blood she was responsible for. "I can't," she choked, her voice faint as a ghost. "I can't go back." But the figure stepped even closer, wielding a piercing gaze that demanded honesty, igniting an unbearable weight within Edna's spirit. "You have to. The town needs to know the truth." An overwhelming wave of panic washed over her. Would the town of Willow Creek finally understand? Would they forgive her? The questions spiraled, but she had no answers. At that moment, the clock chimed ominously, slicing through the tension like a knife. The witching hour whispered around them. Time was running out. Edna felt the noose of her past tighten. Would she finally share the chilling truth that could turn everything upside down? And if she did, would anyone in Willow Creek ever see her the same way again? The choice lay before her, burdened with shadows. The only sound was the distant crackle of thunder, signaling a storm that might be more than just outside. The air grew thick as Edna felt the reality of the figure's words wrap around her like a vice. Panic bubbled in her throat. She clenched her fists, willing her heart to stop racing. "What child?" "You can't know about," but even as she sputtered, doubt echoed louder than her voice. All along, she had feared this moment, the inevitable confrontation with a past that had tormented her like a relentless ghost. The figure stepped forward, the moonlight catching the edge of their cloak. "You know the child," they said softly. "You know the fate that befell them." With that, an image struck like lightning, a small face, wide-eyed and innocent, marred by the shadow she had cast. How could she ever forget? Each time she passed the old park where laughter used to ring, it served as a gaping wound, a reminder of the choice she had made to silence everything. "It was an accident," Edna hissed, desperation creeping into her voice. "It was all an accident." But the figure kept their gaze steady, unmoved by her anguish. "Accidents have consequences, Edna. Consequences that need facing. You think burying it deep away from everyone will spare you from it? You've only postponed the truth. The town senses it, Edna. They whisper. They watch. They want to know." The shadows flickered around them, and a deep rumble of thunder rolled, shaking the walls of her small home. The once safe sanctuary now felt like a prison, and that hand of fate, clawing its way back to her, loomed larger with every tick of the clock. "I can't expose myself like that," she cried, her voice cracking. "What will they think of me? I can't bear it." The urgency surged through her, that gut-wrenching desire to keep the past buried. But the figure's unwavering stare held her fast. "Forgiveness awaits, but only if you summon the courage to step into the light. What you've hidden has cast too long a shadow over Willow Creek. You owe it to them, Edna, and to yourself." A sharp exhale escaped her, and suddenly thoughts spun in a dizzying array: her lies, her evasion, the weight of secrets that crawled through her own skin. She had sheltered herself for so long, believing walls could keep her safe from examining the truth. Yet she stood at a crossroads now, her heart pounding with fear and regret. "I can try," she whispered, the admission a fragile blade cutting through the tension. "But what if it destroys everything? Better to destroy the false than to let the truth fester." The figure stepped even closer, their presence nearly swallowing her whole. "But the choice is yours. Do you wish to continue living in this shadow? Or will you step into the revelation of your past? Edna felt an undeniable pull towards the truth. It vibrated deep inside. A connection to the child she had lost. A muted scream echoed in her mind, the pleading cry of a soul yearning to be freed. She took a breath, steadying herself against the powerful storm that brewed both inside and outside. Yet, just as she felt she might grasp the edge of her awakening, a deafening crash of thunder shook her home, rattling the windows with a ferocity that made her jump. Instinctively, she glanced toward the door, and the shadows in the corners of the room shifted, twisting like angry serpents. Something's coming, the figure warned, a flash of concern ghosting their visage. You must decide quickly. The storm is more than just weather. As a shudder coursed through her body, Edna knew events were spiraling beyond her control. That truth she had buried was clawing its way back, a reckoning drawing near with every lightning flash. Will you take that step, Edna? The figure prompted. Or will the storm consume you? Just then she heard a soft thud from the dark hallway, a sound that sent icy terror racing down her spine. Turning abruptly, a dread deeper than she had ever known settled into her chest. Someone else was in the house, someone who might already know everything. Who's there? Edna shouted, fear mingled with adrenaline, her heart pounding as she braced for whatever might emerge from the dark. The darkness shivered around her, the tension slicing through the air like glass. Edna's heart raced, each beat pounding in her ears, drowning out the sound of rain hammering against the window. She took a shaky step towards the hallway, the flickering candlelight casting eerie shadows that danced in rhythmic terror. Answer me, she shouted again, fueled by a sudden surge of courage, but dread twisted inside her stomach. She could hear the soft scuffle of footsteps echoing back, as if the very walls were taunting her with whispers of dread. The figure behind her remained steadfast, silent yet watchful. You must confront the truth or let it devour you, they urged, their voice a haunting echo in the confines of her fear. Edna clenched her jaw, summoning the last remnants of her resolve. She had faced so much already. But the shadow in the hallway was an unknown force, something dark and sinister that she had never anticipated. The real question coiled in her mind: what if it was the one thing she never wanted to see again? Show yourself, she cried, desperation edging into her tone, as she strained her eyes against the darkness. Every instinct told her to retreat, to pull back into the relative safety of her fear. But she knew she had to move forward. She had to confront whatever this was. The thud came again, louder this time, and with it, a breathy whisper seemed to seep through the cracks in the house. Her name rolled through the air like smoke, familiar yet foreign, both a comfort and a dread that coursed through her veins. What do you want? She managed to choke out, scrambling for clarity amidst the tempest of emotion swirling inside her. You know what I want, came the whisper, gaining strength, growing tangible, and laced with a fullness that sent a shiver down her spine. It felt as if the voice was entwined with echoes of laughter and the cries of loss. It echoed with everything she had buried so deeply. As if responding to that invocation, a figure coalesced from the shadows at the end of the hallway, taking shape slowly, deliberately. There it stood, a haunting silhouette of the child she had lost, aged, yet bearing the unmistakable resemblance of innocence in a once familiar face. Anna? Edna's voice broke, splintering beneath the weight of the name. You can't be here. The figure stepped closer, and in that moment, everything she had locked away surged forward like a tidal wave. You left me, Edna. You chose silence over my voice. You chose to bury our truth. No, Edna cried out, her world spiraling into chaos. It was to protect you. I thought I was protecting you. From what? Anna's tone was a mix of innocence and reproach, piercing through Edna's defenses. From the town? From your shame? Or from the truth? The figure behind her shifted, and Edna felt a presence tightening around her, pushing her towards the abyss of her past. The walls felt closer, claustrophobic. A piece of her heart ached for the child, yet the unwelcome memories twisted like barbed wire. Stop. You don't get it, she pleaded, tears burning her eyes. I did what I had to do, but Anna remained steadfast, her ghostly visage unyielding. Your choices have led to this moment. Will you fight for forgiveness or continue to hide? The storm outside raged on, harmonizing with the tempest within her. Just as the weight of realization sunk in, a loud crash shattered the fragile connection, sending Edna reeling, her heart racing once more. The door slammed open, rain pouring in, and a stranger stood silhouetted against the chaos, their face hidden beneath the hood of a cloak. "Edna!" the stranger shouted, voice filled with urgency. "We need to get out of here now." Edna's breath caught in her throat, reality folding on itself. Who was this new figure? Did they come to rescue her? Or did they come with more ghosts from her past? With everything spiraling out of control, one thought pierced through the chaos. Would stepping into the light cost her everything? "Don't let them take you," Anna's voice echoed, mingling with the thunder, drowning out the stranger's cries. What had she begun? She could feel the ground shifting beneath her, a reckoning closing in fast. "Edna," the cloaked figure pressed, urgency tinged with alarm. "You have to trust me." But as the storm's fury intensified, one thing was clear: whatever decision she made next would forever alter the course of her fate. And then in that moment of choice, the truth coiled tighter, waiting. Edna's mind spun in a dizzying mix of fear and confusion. Who was this cloaked figure? Their voice was laced with urgency, a stark contrast to the calm dread that had settled around her like a fog. The sound of rain pounded against the walls, drowning out the cries of her daughter, the memories flooding back with a painful intensity. "Anna, please," Edna reached out, her voice cracking. But Anna remained a crystalline specter, flickering in the dim light like a turned mantelpiece too close to the flame. The tears streamed down Edna's cheeks, mixing with the rain that washed every corner of her past into her present. "Edna, you have to make a choice," the stranger compelled, stepping forward. The flicker of the candlelight illuminated parts of their face, sharp jawline, soaked hair, and an expression that radiated both concern and terror. There was something familiar about them, a hint of a connection buried deep in the recesses of her memory. I can't just leave," Edna stammered, as if the very action of moving forward would undo everything she had tried to keep hidden. Yet the shadows around her stirred, drawing in closer, hungry and waiting. Anna's voice echoed like ghostly thunder. "You have to face it, Mom. You buried me, and now it's time to lay it to rest." A rush of shame surged through Edna. Could she face the truth? In the deepest corners of her heart, she knew the answer. But the fear of what it might unleash was paralyzing. "Trust me," the stranger urged as the wind howled outside, slipping icy fingers through the cracks of the old home. "There's no time left. You're not safe." But the walls seemed to thrum with Anna's presence, pulling her back into darkness. "You think running will save you? You are only running from yourself." Edna's throat tightened, a lump choking out her breath. She raised her hands, the flames of the candle dancing wildly as if trying to escape. "I was trying to save you, Anna. You were just a child." "Enough," the shadowed figure shouted, stepping further into view. It was as if the tempest itself had whipped out their hood. The rain poured down heavily behind him, but his eyes burned with an almost supernatural intensity. "You are stronger than this. There is so much more at stake." Edna felt the ground shift beneath her, her heart racing against the violence of the storm. Should she turn away from her daughter's cries, from the pain of her past? She felt pulled in two directions, one leading to the truth about her choices, and the other toward the safety of her silence. As if sensing her struggle, Anna's shape rippled, her innocent visage morphing into something deeper, bolder. "You can heal, Mom, but only if you first face the truth about me." The thunder roared in response, shaking the very foundation of the house. Edna shivered, each note of the storm striking at her fragile heart. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about redemption for both herself and Anna. "Edna," the stranger pressed again, exasperation spilling into their voice. "You have to do it now before it's too late." Just then the walls creaked ominously, vibrating with the grief of past choices made. Edna could feel it rising like floodwaters, ready to break free. Amidst all the chaos, clarity pierced through the veil of her fear. The truth would haunt her regardless. "What do I do?" she asked, half pleading, half demanding. "Follow me," the cloaked figure shouted, urgency thrumming through the air, a lifeline thrown into the churning sea of her psyche. Edna had but a moment to decide. Would she risk losing everything to uncover what lay behind the veil? Or would she dive deeper into the shadows, allowing them to consume her completely? Before she could summon an answer, Anna's voice echoed through the tempest, "Mom, this is your chance." And with that, she grasped the stranger's outstretched hand, feeling the weight of years press heavy against her back. Would stepping forward pull her into freedom, or would it drown her with sorrow? The storm roared, and Edna leaped into the unknown. Darkness enveloped Edna as she plunged forward, the figure's grip firm and unwavering. The world around her spiraled, each heartbeat resonating in time with the thunder outside. She could sense the void beneath her, an abyss filled with unanswered questions and suffocating guilt. The moment she let go of the past and stepped into the unknown felt both liberating and terrifying. "Where are we going?" she gasped, apprehension lacing her voice as they moved deeper into the shadowy confines of her memories. "To the truth," the stranger replied, their tone almost soothing, yet laced with urgency. "Everything you've hidden must come to light. It's the only way." As they moved, Edna noticed the settings around her shift, blurring like an old film on replay. Scenes from her life cascaded around them, each one resonating with familiar faces and echoing voices. Yet they were all distorted, twisted by the weight of her unprocessed grief. And then she saw Anna's face flickering within a memory of the park. Laughter suddenly turned into screams. "Stop, please," Edna cried, hands rising to shield her eyes as the memories swirled violently, threatening to drown her. "I can't relive those moments." "Edna, listen to me." The stranger halted, their voice grounding her through the tumult. "You can't escape the pain you feel. You must confront it, or it will consume you in this life or the next." The ground beneath her flipped. Edna stumbled, breath hitching in her throat. The scene changed again, morphing into the day she last saw Anna. The sun shone brightly, the shadows were long, every detail imprinted in her mind. But beneath that light lay guilt, dark and creeping. "Do you remember?" the figure urged. "Do you remember that day?" Edna's heart raced, recalling the arguments, the anger boiling over. "I thought I was protecting her. But I didn't listen." Her voice cracked, tears streaming as she faced the specter of her choices. "Admit it." The cloaked figure pressed. "Let it out. You need to forgive yourself, and Anna needs to find peace." The air felt thick as memories lashed at her, the cacophony of her tumultuous thoughts merging with Anna's haunting whispers. "Mom, you let me down. Stop," she screamed, clutching her head. "No more, please." "Look deeper," the figure insisted, their eyes piercing through the haze of her despair. "See the truth. What were you really afraid of?" Edna's breath hitched again, a wrenching realization dawning like a splinter of sunlight through the storm. "I was terrified. Terrified of being vulnerable." As the weight of those words hung in the air, the memories shifted once more, showing her Anna's endless attempts to connect, her daughter's voice filled with love and longing, drowning in Edna's fear. "Face it, Edna," urged the figure, urgency thrumming against the rain outside. "Face the part of you that kept running." With a desperate gasp, she felt something inside her snap. This was more than grief. It was the crushing burden of guilt that shackled her to a past she couldn't change. "I'm sorry, Anna," she cried, a raw scream tearing from her throat. "I'm so sorry." The storm raged on, but within Edna, something began to loosen, a thread unraveling the fabric of her pain. A flicker of hope rose, ready to ignite a flame of healing. Yet, before she could grasp it, an eerie silence fell over the scene. The wind stilled and darkness flooded in too quickly. "What is happening?" Just then an apparition emerged. Anna stood before her. Not the ghostly image from before, but a hauntingly real form, a mix of child and woman. The depth of her eyes swirled with sorrow and warmth, bridging the years between them. "Mom," Anna said softly, "you're finally ready to hear me. But there's more you need to know." Edna's heart dropped. What more could her daughter possibly reveal? As the tension thickened in the air, Edna felt destiny holding its breath, waiting for the truth to unfold. "What is it, Anna?" But before the answer could come, thunder cracked above them once more, as if the heavens themselves withheld the response, leaving Edna teetering on the precipice of revelation. The silence that followed was deafening, a thick cloak that enveloped them. Edna's heart raced as she searched Anna's eyes, feeling a mix of desperation and dread. How could her daughter be here, so vivid and yet so elusive? "Mom, you've carried this weight for too long," Anna murmured, stepping closer. The air shimmered around her, each step filled with a grace that was achingly familiar. "It's time to trust me." "Trust you?" Edna gasped, the word tasting bitter on her tongue. "You've been gone. How can I trust anything after losing you?" Lightning illuminated Anna's soft smile, a fleeting glow that felt like a promise. You haven't lost me. I'm here and I never really left. You just needed to let go of the guilt. Edna felt her chest tighten. But I was supposed to protect you. I failed you. No. Anna's voice rang through the storm, piercing Edna's chaos like a beacon. You were only human, Mom. You made choices. But it's your refusal to forgive yourself that has kept me from peace. The echoes of Anna's words hung in the air, bouncing off the walls of the darkened space they inhabited. They felt weighted, demanding her attention. What if all this time she hadn't just been mourning Anna, but had been mourning herself as well? Everything you've hidden must come to light, the stranger's voice echoed softly behind her, drawing her attention. The secrets they bind you, Edna. A rush of memories assaulted her. The feeling of losing Anna, that blinding day in the park, the anger, the harsh words that came from fear. I didn't listen. She cried, the truth hanging raw and exposed. I thought I'd drown in my vulnerability. Those chains of fear can be broken. Anna implored, her expression softening with empathy. You've kept me trapped in your sorrow and regret. I can't move forward if you want tea. But how? By realigning your love, Mom. Anna reached out, touching Edna's hands. The warmth of her daughter's skin flooded Edna with memories, nights spent reading together, laughter echoing, the way they used to curl up on the couch watching movies. You have to let go of the past to forge a new path forward. Are you ready? Edna searched Anna's eyes, the depths swirling with emotion, entangled threads of light and dark. What if I can't? You can. Anna whispered, and for a moment conviction filled the air between them. Thunder erupted outside, crashing violently like the storm brewing inside Edna's heart. What if she truly opened that door? Would it lead to healing or more pain? Was she strong enough? But then, with a rush of clarity, a lifeline of hope surged through her. I'm ready, Anna. I want to free you. I want to free us both. The shadows around them seemed to shift, drawing closer, swirling impossibly as the thunder rolled in a deafening crescendo. Anna smiled, a radiant light breaking through the gathering darkness. Then listen, Anna prompted, stepping back, her form flashing like a broken prism. Listen closely to the truth of what happened that day. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, another glimpse at that day. A man with a dark presence, one who had remained in the depths of her subconscious. A figure so familiar yet foreign. It was the embodiment of her fear, standing right before them. It's time to face him, Edna, Anna urged, her voice strong and unwavering. The air crackled with tension as Edna took in the sight of the figure. Could she truly confront what lay ahead? Could she finally step out of the shadows that clung to her? Mom, Anna's voice broke through, grounding her. This is the only way to find your way back to me. Do you stand with me? Edna inhaled deeply, the charge in the air pulsing with urgency. Yes. I'm ready, she shouted, her voice ringing with newfound strength. But before the impending confrontation could begin, the world around her began to warp and twist. The darkness grew, enveloping everything once more. Wait! Edna screamed, panic flooding her veins. But the light faded, leaving her once more in the void, her heart racing with uncertainty, and then silence. Heavy moments stretched out, thick as molasses, as Edna braced for what was to come. What awaited her in the next flash of realization? Would this truth unveil freedom or a deeper descent into darkness? As the shadows loomed just beyond her grasp, she felt destiny hold her tightly, trembling on the edge of revelation. Edna's breath quickened in the suffocating stillness. The shadows were no longer just shapeless figures. Now they danced and flickered, like flames threatening to consume her. The panic clawed at her throat, thick and suffocating. Anna! She called out, her voice cracking. Just as quickly as the void had overtaken her, the scene shifted. She found herself standing in an old, dimly lit room. Dust motes swirled lazily in the air, illuminated by a lone flickering light bulb. The familiar smell of old books and faded memories wrapped around her, squeezing her heart. A chill ran down her spine as she recognized the scene. This was her grandmother's south study, the place where her own childhood fears had been born. Whispers of the past echoed against the walls, filled with secrets that had long been buried. Find the truth, Edna, a voice whispered, murky and distant, but it was not Anna. It came from somewhere deeper, somewhere shadowy. Panic began to bubble inside her again. But then she felt a gentle touch on her shoulder. Anna stood beside her, eyes soft and pleading. "You're not alone. We can face this together." "What is happening?" Edna's voice trembled, filled with dread. "Where is this place?" "This was where the lies began," Anna replied, glancing around the room. "You have to confront the stories that steeped in shame, the past you've hidden." Edna gazed at her grandmother's desk, her heart pounding. A small, intricately carved box lay in the center of it, untouched by time. She could feel the weight of it, like it held every secret she had ever buried. "What's inside?" Her voice was barely more than a whisper. "Only you can open it," Anna urged. "This box holds the truth you've denied yourself for years." With trembling hands, Edna stepped forward, each stride echoing in the quiet. She reached for the box, fingers shaking as she lifted it. Suddenly the shadows thickened, coiling around her ankles, tugging at her with insistent whispers. "Don't! You shouldn't!" They hissed, pulling her back from the danger. But there was something else, a force like warmth breaking through the cold dread that scorched her skin. It was Anna, standing resiliently beside her. "Open it, Mom. We need to see," Anna encouraged, a spark of determination in her eyes. Edna swallowed hard, steeling herself against the encroaching darkness. She took a deep breath, feeling the familiar blend of love and fear coiling in her gut. The box seemed to pulse in her hands, as if it were alive, urging her to dare. Gathering every ounce of courage, she lifted the lid. The hinges creaked, and the air filled with a sharp, aching silence. Inside the box lay a collection of faded photographs, letters, and a small diary. Each item was imbued with memories she had buried, deep moments of shame, grief, and betrayal crashing back into view. "Read one," Anna urged, her voice now an echo resonating through the room. Edna picked up the diary, its cover worn and delicate. Hesitant fingers traced the cover, and she could almost hear her grandmother's voice within the ink. Taking another deep breath, she opened it to the first page, the faint scent of parchment filling her senses. Words spilled out like ghosts, each letter a confession that seeped into the corners of her heart. "I did what I thought was best for her." Her eyes widened in disbelief. Each entry dived deeper into secrets, choices made in darkness that reverberated through time. "No, no, no," she shook her head, the truth battering against her resolve. "What does it say?" Anna asked, a whisper of urgency in her tone. But before Edna could respond, the shadows lurched violently. They seized hold of the open diary, ripping it from her hands, sending pages fluttering through the air like trapped birds. The wind howled, rattling the very foundations of the room. "Stop!" Edna cried, reaching out desperately. But the shadows were relentless, spinning around. She saw the dark figure from before emerging with an unsettling grin. "You don't want to know, Edna. It's better this way. Don't let her ruin your memories." "No," Edna yelled back, determination igniting within her. "I need to know." The world spun, whirlwinds of doubt and fear intertwined with the vivid colors of memory. Anna's presence glimmered like a guiding light amidst the chaos. "Face him, Mom," Anna shouted. "You have the strength." Edna's heart raced as she took her stand against the darkness, teetering on the brink of revelation. The figure's laughter echoed menacingly, drowning in a thunderous storm that rumbled just beyond the walls of the room. "What's in the shadows can set you free or consume you forever." As the shadows encroached, Edna felt the weight of destiny pressing down, ready to catapult her into uncharted territory. What awaited her on the other side of the truth? Would she have the strength to confront it? Or would it end in chaos? Gripping her grandmother's diary, she prepared for the ultimate revelation. Would she dare to face the torment that haunted her? And just like that, the storm outside broke free, crashing against the old glass like a warning siren. Would Edna's courage be enough to silence the whispers of the past? Or would she be swallowed whole by the tide of her own buried sins? Edna's fingers tightened around the diary, heart pounding like a drum. Shadows hissed, but a flicker of light from Anna's determined gaze ignited a simmering anger inside her. "I won't let you take this from me," she shouted, voice rising above the cacophony. The figure, cloaked in darkness, sneered, a flash of pearly teeth piercing the gloom. "You're a fool to seek the truth. Lies are comfortable. They protect you." A jolt of defiance surged through Edna. She stepped forward, feeling the shadows writhe as if sensing her resolve. "Comfort is it worth the price of my peace?" Anna nodded, a spark igniting in her own eyes. Together, Mom. We can conquer this. You are not just a victim of your past, you can rise above it. With that, Edna swung her focus back to the diary. She quickly flipped through torn pages, words flooding her senses, sides fighting for attention. Her heart twisted as she read fragmented sentences. I never forgave myself. I hoped you would never have to know. Panic clawed at her, memories threatening to drown her as the figure grew more menacing. It loomed larger, expanding, stretching shadows like dark tendrils across the room. You were meant to forget, Edna. Now you'll suffer. No, she protested, her voice filled with raw emotion. I need to face this. I need to know. Suddenly the pages stopped fluttering, paused on a stark entry. Her breath hitched at the sight of a name she hadn't seen in over a decade. Daniel. He knew. He always knew, Edna whispered, her voice trembling, as if the name had conjured specters from the past. The betrayer is as much a part of your history as the pain. The dark figure's smirk deepened, eyes gleaming with malice. You yearned for closure, but there's only more sorrow to find. Edna's heart twisted. That name held all her childhood fears, both tender and horrifying. The day Daniel disappeared had dragged her family into an abyss she had never fully escaped. No, Edna groaned, squeezing her eyes shut, fighting the flood of remembrance. I can't go back there. Anna placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You can, Mom. We need to face the darkness to find the light. The shadows began to roar, swirling like a tempest around them, threatening to drown Edna in the storm of her past. You think you're strong enough to change what's been done? The figure taunted. Edna's breath quickened, still gripped by fear, yet stubbornness flared within her. No, I can't change the past, but I won't let it rule my future. I refuse to be a prisoner anymore. Suddenly, a gust of wind ripped through the room, scattering papers like autumn leaves, the shadowy figure faltering, taken aback by her resolve. This isn't over. It roared, its voice echoing with rage, but Edna felt a surge of strength lift her. Read the truth, Edna. Anna urged, urgency woven in every syllable. It might hurt, but you'll finally be free. Clutching the diary close, Edna unread the names, the words weaving a tapestry of betrayal, regret, and oddly love. I never wanted to hurt you, her grandmother's trembling script confessed. Tears sprang to Edna's eyes, confusion crackling in her chest. What kind of love could lead to such loss? From behind her, Anna encouraged, you're almost there. Each breath hung thick with emotion as Edna pressed onward, uncovering the secrets of her family like layers of an onion, tearing at her insides with every revelation. Just then a shriek from outside split the air, rattling the walls. Something dreadful was approaching, a storm, yes, but more than that, a reckoning. She stared into the diary, trembling. This could either liberate her or shatter what remnants of safety she had left. But the choice was hers now. Open your eyes, Edna. Face it fully. Anna's voice pierced through the chaos. Tentatively, Edna lifted her gaze from the diary, locking her eyes on the figure. I will uncover every shadow and every sin. And I will find the peace I deserve. But as the words fell, a deep rumble shook the foundation of the room. The wind howled, shadows surged as if aware of their impending defeat. In this moment of clarity, Edna knew that beneath every dark corner of her past lay not just despair but the possibility of healing. Yet, as she reached the next page, the shadows surged forward, blinding her vision. You will regret this, the figure screamed, lunging as the chaos erupted. Would she be able to harness her discoveries to fight back? Or would the storm engulf them all, sweeping away whatever clarity she had begun to find? The next page whispered promises and threats alike, but only one truth echoed loud and clear, wrapping around Edna's heart like vines. This was just the beginning. Edna's hands trembled as she clutched the diary, the last high tide of her nightmares crashing against her conscience. The shadows twisted violently, withholding light but refusing to yield. She danced between fear and courage, the true heartbeat of her existence thrumming deep within her as she faced the storm. Look at me, Edna. Anna's voice threaded through the chaos, a lifeline tethering Edna to her purpose. You're not alone anymore. You never have to be. With that, a spark ignited in Edna's heart. She thrust the diary ahead, her voice rising like the wind. You can't keep me prisoner. I see you now. The shadows surged around her, but she pushed back, her words a shield. I understand your pain, But your hold over me ends tonight. The dark figure hissed, recoiling. You think uncovering the truth will save you? It sneered, swirling grays creeping around its silhouette. You will only find more despair. No, Edna shouted, the conviction blazing in her chest. The truth may hurt, but it won't destroy me. I am ready to face everything. The figure wavered, the shadows flickering around it like dying embers. Edna felt something shift as she flipped another page in the diary. Each word she read began to resonate like a battle cry, awakening echoes of light long forgotten. It was Daniel. He was scared, confused, just like I was. We were all mixed up in something we couldn't fully understand back then. We lost sight of each other. The shadows groaned, a tempest of rage, but Edna pressed on. Love can become a shadow, but it can also shine through the dark. I will reach for forgiveness for Anna and for myself. Her resolve solidified as she began to rewrite what had been hidden. You were all I had, she whispered, casting her heart wide, a net seeking to gather the love that had been lost in devastation. The dark figure bathed in shadows flickered, uncertain. Forgiveness is not easy, neither is suffering. Edna interrupted, the words exploding from her. But if I have to face my family's past to connect with Anna's love, then I will do it. I will tear down these walls of sorrow. With her heart alight, she reached for Anna's hand, connecting with a warmth that flooded her soul. Together, Edna. Always together. Anna echoed, their hands sealing the promise of unity, shimmering against the engulfing darkness, and that unison, a brilliant, blinding light erupted, illuminating every crevice of the room, dissolving the shadows into fragile wisps. The dark figure screeched, the brilliance suffocating its tendrils. It faded slowly, impotent against the burgeoning truth. As the light expanded, Edna felt clarity flood her senses. Memories cascaded like petals, laughter, warmth, love interlaced with pain, regret, and forgiveness. She could sense Daniel, and deep within her, a deep-seated healing began to bloom. In that moment, each confession enveloped them. Floodgates of emotions flowed as she finally surrendered, embracing all of it. The old weight lifted, leaving her feeling lighter than air. See, Anna smiled, her presence now a shining beacon. You did it. You faced the truth, and now we can finally begin anew. Tears streamed down Edna's face, carving lines of release through years of regret and sorrow. Thank you for being here. I never left you. Anna's voice shimmered with love, making the darkness retreat before their bond. The room transformed, vibrant colors filling the space as sunlight spilled through the windows, illuminating the remnants of the past as they became whispers of the present. The diary lay open now, a testament to truth. Let us tell the world, Edna breathed, her heart racing with the warmth of renewed conviction. The town deserves to know the truth. Yes, Anna chirped, her spirit weaving through the light, guiding Edna's path toward healing. You're ready to heal, and so are they. At that moment, the winds outside held a soft melody of acceptance, washing over the remnants of dread that had previously held her soul captive. With a newfound strength swirling within her, Edna stepped into the light. The storm of her past had cleared, leaving a landscape ripe for rebuilding. The warmth of hope blanketed her heart, and she felt alive as she strode from the home filled with secrets and shadows. Edna closed her eyes, allowing the relaxing embrace of fresh air to greet her. It tangled through her hair, weaving a symphony of hope. Time to face them, Edna, she whispered to herself, steeling her resolve. In that brief moment, everything felt possible: the histories, the pain, and finally, the freedom to face her family and the town that had long whispered about her past. She was no longer just a prisoner of her secrets, but a brave architect of her destiny who would stand tall against the shadows. Now was her time to be heard. And if you feel inspired by Edna's journey towards truth and healing, don't just stand by. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that could inspire you too. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Let's spread this message of courage together. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about Edna's incredible transformation. We want to hear how you relate. And finally, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Don't wait even one more second. Only true fans understand how critical your engagement is for our community.